All right, folks, we're working on a John Deere 445 today. I got my green shirt on. My buddy brought it for me. He said I bleed green, so I just got a few of them around here. We got some fuel injection issues. I want to help anybody that these, they're great tractors, but this one's really been a pain, and they can be expensive to fix. So, if I can help, I've got schematics, I've got the manuals, I've got voltage readings. This should be pretty helpful to anybody that is trying to fix one of these. So, without further ado, just gonna take you right over here to some schematics. I did have this laid out. Here's the, oh, okay, this one's actually the 425. The schematic. So if anybody needs it, there's your 425 schematic. Go ahead and take a picture. I'm going to flip it over, and we're going to go on the, this is the 445 fuel injected version. Nice tractor. Here's our battery. Now I just want to go through the fuel injection module, okay? We're not going to go through the whole thing. We're just going to check to see our sensors. So our 12 volts comes in to this K5 fuel injection relay. So if this needs to be made, the coil needs to be energized, makes a contact, brings our 12 volts down to the fuel injector. On one side of it feeds 12 volts into the fuel injector, and it also feeds 12 volts into the module. Okay, now on the same token, we need, here's our ground down here, and if you look, so there's actually two ground wires coming up. Oh, okay, so one goes, okay, the ground jumpers off to the coil, so then we need 12 volts on this side. But okay, sorry, I didn't mean to get sidetracked. So we got, here's our ground, comes up to the common pin on the, let's see, that's K4 safety relay. That actually, when this switches, actually makes a ground on this pin. Okay, so it connects chassis to this pin. The chassis and DC ground are all the same on this one. So we have to make sure that you have a minus here and a plus there. Without that, it'll crank, it'll give you spark, but it will not fire the actual injector. Where was the injector? Oh, injector's right here. All right, no, that's cool. Anyway, but it also needs the magnetic flywheel sensor there to pulse it. But primarily we have three sensors on here. 1, 2, 3 sensors that we need to check. This one is the air temp sensor. That one's a coolant temp sensor, and our map sensor. They call it an air pressure sensor, APS. Okay. So what we're gonna do, because it's really hard, they got these numbers on here, but it's difficult to figure out exactly where this wire is on the module. You look at the module, you got two plugs on it, it's like what's what. It's hard to figure out wire colors and numbers, and so I've came up with a little bit better system. This was the first one I did. Let's see if I got, is that coming out right? You know what, I could also put this one right next to it maybe. I'll look at both of them, but so when you're actually looking at the module, this is your wire colors. There's a red, that's your +5 that comes out, that feeds your 3 sensors, or rather, okay, so we got 12 volts going in here. We need a ground on the violet, +12 on the red and blue, And then what that will give us, internally it'll give us 5 volts out, and then that feeds the map sensor and the two temp sensors, coolant and air. So it feeds 5 volts to all them sensors. And then what we're gonna do is just look at the feedback voltage coming back, okay? So, and that's basically what this is here. Here's your layout again. The red one being +5, so if we look, red was 4.9. Oh, that's right, there was 2 different modules. One read 499, one read 5.01. So there's slight difference, but maybe, I don't think so. That's well within a tolerance. And then, like, for instance, the air, the air and the coolant temp were usually pretty close in voltage. Okay, so if we look here, like on this one, okay, it's cold. Here it's cold. It's 3.3 volts, 3.3 volts. So they're both very close. We come over here where it's warmed up, and that voltage has dropped to 2.4, 2.4. So the 2 coolant sensors seems to be run. The white one, that's actually white and green, but that is our map sensor, and it seems to always be like a, half a volt higher or volt higher. It doesn't change with temperature. But this will give you an idea. You can look at, this was this tractor with that module, and yeah, it got ugly. Here's our different, they're calling it air pressure sensor. There's your 3 leads. Your red's going to be your +5 going into it. The black is ground. The white is your feedback wire. I got 3.77 written on there. And that is what feeds back into the ECU. That's the best way to really check it at the ECU like this. Because it's like going through all your wiring, all your connections and everything. I did have another, one that I made up. Of course, it's over by the tractor. Let me go grab it. Okay, so this one's a real good one for, you know what I'll do here too. Maybe I can try to zoom in a little bit. I do have this. Yeah, this is the one you need anyway. Just move this other stuff out of the way. Just kind of drew this one up, but when we go look at the machine, when you take the module and peel it down, this is kind of what you'll be looking at. It's laid out just like this, so we can stick our negative lead of our meter in here, set to DC voltage. We're going to back probe the pins, and we're also going to use these meter lead extensions they're kind of deadly, but they work really well for sticking in the back side of your connectors, because you don't want to use your standard fat meter lead on there. See, these go right on. Yeah, okay, right on. They do work. And then you can back probe in without ruining your connector. Okay, so where were we at? Ground lead, negative lead of the meter in here, meter set to DC voltage, and then you're going to poke in here. You're going to read, your 2.4. No, okay, let's say it's cold. I'm going to read about 3.3 volts. Pink one, you're going to read about 3.3 volts. And the white and green, you're going to read about 3.7. 3.7, yeah. So when we go to the machine, that's exactly what we'll be looking at. So we're going to look for ground here and we're going to look for 12 volts here, and we're going to check all these. Just key on, not running.